Hey, what up, America, and welcome to a Better Black America radio show. I'm your host, Bouchon Glover, the one-stop shop where we discuss our issues, our topics, a place where we seek solutions and resolutions to create a better Black America. Now, this Saturday, March 12th, 2016, and we're about to do a Trey Songz. We just going to dive into this one. Now, if you guys been paying attention, the political season, campaign season is on fire right now. Now, here at the Better Black America radio show, we must provide the hard facts because God's people shall not perish for the lack of knowledge. Now, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are still the front runners on their race to Washington. Now, with the 2016 political election, if it comes down to just Hillary and Donald Trump, we're going to have to do something about that, because if you've been paying attention, there's been some disheartening things going on and connections to the money, to the KKK. It's so much going on that it's crazy. And it's time for us to stand up and start kicking back and start asking the hard questions, as well as providing the information so the people can actually take the hard facts and take the information and make an educated decision based on the knowledge. Because like I said earlier in my statement, that God's people shall not perish for the lack of knowledge. Now, hypothetically speaking, now if these two choices for the 45th president of the United States came down to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, SMH, I'm shaking my head right now because that's crazy. Now, you have Hillary Clinton supporters, you have Donald Trump supporters as well, but we have to peel these layers back and kind of really see and get to the bottom of what's going on, because it could be a slippery slope on both ends. Now, it's kind of like we're going to have to select the lesser of the two evils, because both of them have their baggage. Now, Hillary Clinton, now you guys need to go back if you haven't already seen it and watch the Black Genocide show that I did. And I explained some information to why some people have issues, especially in the Black community, in regards to Hillary Clinton. But with Donald Trump, he's right now, he out there just on something different. We haven't seen this before in our lifetime. It went on back in the 60s, but right now, these people are coming out of the woodworks to support their guy, Mr. Donald Trump. Now, what's the difference between these two candidates other than their gender? Well, although some may want to vote for Hillary because she's the first woman president of the United States, and then some might support Donald Trump so he could be the first KKK Grand Wizard to become president of the United States. Yeah, you heard it here first. Grand Wizard to become the president of the United States, and that cannot happen. Now, have you guys been paying attention to Trump's rallies lately? And his rallies are looking like Klan rallies. So check out a few of these clips. Check out a couple of these clips. Then you can actually go to the next one. I mean, that's crazy. And we got other videos queued up that we're going to take a look at, and it's disheartening. It's not, I mean, this is politics, and he's not taking blame. He don't want to take blame for any of these things, but the things that he say is pure rhetoric. Now, look at this video. This was disheartening.
Trump yesterday's rally in Louisville. You can see several people inside the Kentucky International Convention Center shoving the protester until she left. Now, multiple people were escorted out during Trump's speech, some by force. A woman in the video tells WLKY many people there yelled racial slurs at her. She says she's okay and is still processing exactly what happened.
And that's crazy. I mean, and the only thing about it is, when you look at these rallies, it's kind of like, just imagine what would happen if they had their robes on. Now take a look at this clip where another protester at a Trump rally actually exiting the building, being escorted by the police, and was actually sucker punched. Looked like a forearm shiver Just check this video out. Now, does that look like a person who have the qualifications, the demeanor, and the tone to become president of these United States of America? I don't think so. And then Trump was asked a question. I believe David Duke endorsed him, which was a Grand Wizard elected official from the state of Louisiana. Actually, a question was asked, did he hear about the endorsement? And he tried to debunk the statement here. Look at this clip here.
Trump's coming in right now.
Wow, there's a lot of press. Yes, sir.
Mr. Trump, how do you feel about the recent endorsement from David Duke?
I didn't even know he endorsed me. David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay? Yes.
So shortly after that, with Donald Trump, now he's getting ties to the KKK, and it's this is crazy. Now, and not in my lifetime, I have not seen anything to this magnitude. But we can go back to the '60s and see where the culture or where America was at that time, and they had issues going on at that time. But here we are, 50 years later, and it looked like it's starting to sprout again. So we as a people, not just blacks, but people who don't support that type of behavior and understand that as a president, you just can't say certain things. When you're in a position of power, you can make a comment and someone that supports you will go out and act on that. So you have to guard your words. You have to be very careful when you're speaking to crowds of masses, especially when it comes to politics on a level like that. Now, with the KKK connection and with Donald Trump having to ask these questions, he decided to call on his friend Ben Carson to come out and to kind of like somehow make it look a little different than what it is. So here's Ben Carson endorsing Donald Trump.
And today is something very, very special because Dr. Ben Carson was respected by everybody. Everybody wanted his endorsement, and everybody loves him and truly, truly admires what he's done. His life has been an incredible life. It's been a awe-inspiring life. And I just want to tell you that having his support really, I think it adds just total credence to what I'm trying to do and to what we're all trying to do. So I just want to introduce Dr. Ben Carson, special, special person, special man. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Donald. And this whole process, getting involved in the political process, was something that I never particularly intended to do. But I listened to the people, and it was really all about the people, and it continues to be all about the people. It's not about the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. It's about the people of America. I've come to know Donald Trump over the last few years. He is actually a very intelligent man who cares deeply about America. There are two different Donald Trumps. There's the one you see on the stage, and there's the one who's very cerebral, sits there and considers things very carefully. You can have a very good conversation with him. And that's the Donald Trump that you're going to start seeing more and more of right now. And some people said, well, he said terrible things about you. How can you support him? Well, first of all, we buried the hatchet. That was political stuff. And that happens in American politics. The politics of personal destruction, all that, is not something that I particularly believe in or anything that I get involved in. But I do recognize that it is a part of the process. We move on because it's not about me. It's not about Mr. Trump. It's about America. And this is what we have to be thinking about. I have found in talking with him that, there's a lot more alignment philosophically and spiritually than I ever thought that there was. And he will speak to that. But, that actually surprised me more than anything, because I do recognize how a person's image can be greatly distorted, having been the victim of that. I probably understand it better than anybody. And I think as the American people who we are focusing on, as they begin to see the real individual there and those who are helping that individual, I think we're going to be comforted as a nation. Donald Trump talks a lot about making America great, but it's not just talk, he means it. I'm going to be helping him. Others are going to be helping him. One of the things that I've discovered in this country is we have some incredibly smart people. None of us knows everything, but when we begin to use those smart people effectively to accomplish the goals of America, you're going to see us once again begin to ascend to the pinnacle, to a much higher pinnacle than we've ever achieved before, and that's where America should be. Thank you so much.
Wow. So I can't make this up. My job is just to provide the information and the content so we can actually make an educated decision. But that's comical for all of this stuff that's going on. You got the association with the KKK, David Duke, and aggressive KKK Klansmen in the rallies, sucker punching and fighting. And then you want to somehow debunk the situation by, grabbing a token black guy, Ben Carson, and he couldn't have picked a whiter person to actually come and support him. Ben Carson is the whitest black man on the planet, and black people don't even support Ben Carson or his politics. So debunk, denied. If I was a judge, I have a gavel right now. Bam, denied. Now, this was actually this week, but last night, Friday night, actually last night, if you missed it, if you was out late last night and you didn't watch the news, or you didn't get a chance to see what went on, Trump rally was shut down last night in Chicago. See, they not finna let that happen up north. Now, you could do that in Alabama, but look what happened in Chicago. Man, this is crazy. And Trump denies that his rhetoric has anything to do with what's going on. I mean, come on now. Come on now. So this is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, real talk, they shut it down last night, and a lot of people are speculating, was it planned or what was the situation? But I say, hey, shut them all down. Anytime he try to do what he's doing, because we cannot let Donald Trump become the president of these United States of America. Now, this is the only country that I know. Now, I read the story of Marcus Garvey, and I don't want to go back to Africa. This is my home. This is where I'm at. I'm part of the privileged people of America. My people arrived in this country in 1619, and we was here and laid the foundation of this nation. So with this going on, I applaud the freedom of expression and the freedom to protest and to actually shut down an event such on the magnitude of a presidential campaign. Now, as I did some research to find out, has there ever been an open Klansman to run for president? Okay, now I did some research, and the paper trail led me to Barry Goldwater, which was a presidential campaign like Trump. The KKK endorsed him for president in 1964. And Here's this speech at the Republican convention in 1964 at Barry Goldwater.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice. And let me remind you also that moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue.
That's
This was
crazy.
not a traditional acceptance speech.
That's crazy.
There were no
That is crazy. That is crazy. So, I mean, and it's kind of like it's starting to come back, but, you know, we have to push back and not allow this to continue. They always talk about the 1%, but what about the 99%? And like I said, I applaud the group and the people in Chicago that did not allow Trump to have a Ku Klux Klan rally in their town. And that's pretty much what it is, because I've talked about before and some of the past videos, and some you could go back and check them out. They're on demand, A New Day Talk Radio, and talked about his supporters weeks ago as being poor whites. And a lot of poor whites are flipping from Democrats, because how can you be a poor white and actually vote Republican? Because you're using every social program to survive. You know, you're on welfare, you're on, you know, Medicare. I mean, the statistics and the facts support that, because there's more whites. I mean, they have more than us in the population, but there's clearly more whites on public assistance than there is blacks. We're only 14.5% of the country. But we have to really identify and find out and get to the bottom of this and find out what's going on. We just can't sit on this one hands down. So I don't think anybody 20, 30 years ago, 40, 50 years ago even realized that social media was going to do what it's doing, which is allowing platforms and people to have discussions about these issues and these topics. You know, and my job is just to plant the seed, just to open up the conversation, whether it's with your children, whether it's with a spouse, family members. You know, you, depending on your position and your job title at work, you might want to, you know, keep it away from work, because they can consider that some type of harassment, because it's a real slippery slope. But our job is to give the information so we can make an educated decision on what we're going to do. And to have Trump as the Republican frontrunner, which there's still time that he can actually not get the nomination, because Ted Cruz is on his heels, and the established Republicans are trying to stop and block Trump. So he's fighting against the people. He's fighting against his own party. And that infighting, that has happened before, but they don't even want Trump as president, you know. But in this country, you know, we vote and we have to elect a president, but I just can't see our nation under the leadership of Donald Trump. Now, he's trying to change his tone. The last debate, he cleaned it up a little bit, but you know, I believe Maya Angelou said, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. So we believe you, who you are. So you can't just turn around tomorrow and say, hey, you know, put Ben on the stage. Hey, I love black people. I got black friends. But man, come on, man. This is not going to happen. And America is not going to allow this to happen, because the 99% is going to stand up. And if this is, you know, a lot of the people that I grew up with. Now, people who know me now, they see me as a solid, you know, solid person. But those who grew up with me through my education and things like that, you know, it's kind of catching them on a different, they looking at it different, like, wait a minute, when did the transition take place? Because, you know, you look like when you was in school, you was a jock. You played ball, you would show up to practice and not even show up to class, which was true. But I may have ditched calculus, but I went to my history class, you know, because history kind of resonated with me, and it made me, you know, it's to me, the knowledge and understanding our history was more important than trying to figure out what an X and a Y meant in an equation. So I'd rather find out what actually happened instead of trying to identify the unknown. And in saying that, I'm from Generation X, and this is the generation mathematically that they can't put a hand on. That's why a lot of the things that happened to black people with the mass incarceration and the drugs and things like that was to basically get rid of the future leaders, okay? Get rid of the ones who will lead the millenniums to the next level. They tried to take us out, and they did a good job. But some of us is coming off the woodworks, and some of us is starting to get involved and start to communicate and allow dialogue on both sides. Because if you tell me something and you don't have any hard facts, then we need to go ahead and, you know, look it up and see what's going on, so we won't be confused and have disagreements or debate about something that's not an actual fact. So I challenge everyone to don't take my word for anything. Please do your homework, do your research, find out for yourselves, because if you're willing to do that, it would actually be more appreciated than someone telling you what's going on. So this is a platform, and the future of Black America, or blacks in America, is at stake in this election in 2016. Can you imagine, just imagine if Donald Trump won and became president? Could you imagine the city of DC and what it would look like with Donald Trump doing an inauguration? It'll be a Klan rally. The people in DC will be either horrified or they will be ready to ride, either or. And just like when you have the blacks going to Trump's conventions and Trump's events and rallies, what would happen to you if you went to a KKK rally? The same thing. So Ben Carson can go to the KKK rally because he's safe. They love soft-spoken people, watered down. They don't want you to man up, because if Donald Trump was talking to black people like that, then we would have an issue with him, because we're not going to let him talk too long without us responding, and everyone knows that. But how the kids and the college students and Black Lives Matters and all these different movements, you know, these purple groups, you know, bipartisan, and like me, a nonpartisan, who really don't have a political party. I'm not even an independent. I'm a nonpartisan. And my job is to disqualify someone that's not qualified to become president of the United States. Now, if Donald Trump was trying to get a job legitimately with the government, they will do everything in their power to disqualify him from that position. So when you run for president, I believe it's the same concept. It's the same concept. And that will go for Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders and anybody else that's running for public office. But this thing right here is crazy, but we can't let this happen. No way we could let this happen. And like I said earlier, now in Alabama, okay, Mississippi, you know, in these southern Confederate states, and that's really supporting, on the Democratic side, that's supporting Hillary Clinton. These are slave states. So they don't bite the hand that feed them. They don't know how to bite back, because they're live in fear on a regular basis. But when you take it to Chicago, New York, LA, we not finna let that happen. And we got months before this thing comes to an end, because the election is not until 2016. So we're gonna have to take these two front runners and see what we can do to disqualify them and discredit them based on their track record, because that's what we have to do, and just live with our choice, because I don't think neither one of them actually qualifies to be president of the United States. That's my personal opinion, but that's mine, and you can have yours. But like I said, my job is to provide the information so you guys can, look at it, and either you accept it or reject it, but at least you paid attention to it. And when you cast your vote, you'll vote in good confidence and feel good about your vote, because when Obama ran, a lot of blacks were voting for the first time. I've never had to stand in line to vote until Barack Obama came around. I mean, the line was so long, they would go get breakfast, and we singing, and they playing music on the radio like we did something special. But we realized that it don't matter who the president of the United States is, because they're on the same team. Now, Obama is doing what he can do, but I believe Obama's impact is going to impact outside of his public office. I believe that he's setting it up for it to continue. And you can see Hillary starting to all of a sudden, name drop Obama all the time, like she actually liked Obama. But Obama has not come out and endorsed her. But as the president of the United States, I think he's obligated to support his whoever the nominee is. But usually the president has a favorite, and I think Joe Biden probably was his favorite, but Joe Biden didn't run. But right now we stuck with Hillary on the Democratic side, and we got Grand Wizard Donald Trump on the Republican side. And this thing is crazy. So like I said, when doing that research and ran across Goldwater, who I don't know if he has any ties with the KKK, but the KKK did come out and endorse him, just like the KKK is coming out the woodworks to support Donald Trump. Now, Barry Goldwater was a 5-term United States Senator from Arizona and a Republican nominee, and he ended up getting smashed in the general election by Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ. But this is crazy. So we continue to do the work, and dealing with Goldwater, I found, I don't know if any of you have been audited before on a job or just and pretty much from work being audited, and if everything's good, the auditor typically does not dig, meaning if everything they ask for, you had it, it's professional, it's lined up, and they're smiling because they want to give a good report. That's their job. They want to give one. But if you can't provide the information on the flip side that they don't have, and it's not looking too good, the auditor starts digging. So with both of our candidates, our front runners, both have issues and skeletons in their closets. So we're digging. And when I was looking up Goldwater, who is, modern history, in my mind, connected with Trump in the sense of the KKK actually coming out and endorsing this guy, it led me to a video that I want you guys to see. And this was crazy. And it's like I said, God's people shall not perish for the lack of knowledge. So we got a video of Hillary Clinton that we're about to show, and let me know when you got it queued up. And it's just go ahead and check the video out. I think we're ready right now. Okay, check this video out.
I know I should answer the question that is on very many of your minds, and that is, how did a nice Republican girl from Park Ridge go wrong? I mean, this is one of the great unanswered questions that we have to address. And I have to tell you, it started right here. And the reason it did is because in 1964, during the presidential election of that year, I had the absolutely best teachers for what we used to then call, I think, civics and democracy or government and democracy. Each was a semester course. And they decided they were going to have a mock election. And that we were really going to go all out. We were going to have debates. We were going to have the whole panoply of activities around a mock election. At that time, as Ken Reese has told every reporter in America who has called to ask him, and I understand he runs a one-man information bureau about me, I was a Goldwater girl. I mean, really, we used to wear, you know, little banners which said Goldwater girl. So my social studies teachers struck upon this great idea, since I was vocally a Republican and for Senator Goldwater, and one of my very best friends, a woman named Ellen Press, was one of the few Democrats in the whole school, vocally for...
Yeah, and like I said, a Goldwater girl. And just to kind of like connect Barry Goldwater, that presidential Republican nominee, this is an ad that Lyndon Johnson actually ran on TV against Goldwater. Check this out.
We represent the majority of the people in Alabama who hate niggerism, Catholicism, Judaism, and all the isms of the whole world. So said Robert Creel of the Alabama Ku Klux Klan. He also said, I like Barry Goldwater. He needs our help. Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd.
See, look at that, man. That's kind of like, that's, you got Trump connected to the KKK, and somehow the connection is leading to our Democratic president as well, as saying being a Goldwater girl. Now, I believe, you know, I looked at the video, and I would, you know, you guys need to go check it out too. Don't, like I said, we want to know and give it to you right and give the facts, you know. But she was saying that it was a mock election, but with the part as a Goldwater girl, Hillary Clinton was a Republican at that time, and she was supporting Goldwater. Okay, now you can look at the clip to its entirety and come up with your own conclusion, but she was a Goldwater girl. And when did it change? That's the question of the hour for me. You know, when did it change? But you see the connection, the parallels. It's all one grand scheme. You know, they're basically hoodwinking us and bamboozling us. Real talk, because there is no difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. There is no difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump is an outsider when it comes to an elected official, but he's cheesed in when it comes to the elitists, to that top 1%. So now, instead of paying off the politicians are breaking him off. That's how you can have presidential campaigns on the right side fall off and immediately endorse Donald Trump because they want to have something to get something out of it. Because just like Ben Carson is endorsing Trump, you know, Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey is endorsing Trump as well. And New Jersey has Atlantic City, you know, and Trump has hotels. And I remember it used to be, you know, big time fights at Trump's Taj Mahals in Atlantic City. So just think about it. You know, just think about the connection on if he were to be elected as president, then we might have a revitalization of Atlantic City, like Las Vegas East, you know, because gambling is actually legal in that state. But it all boils down to the money. Okay. Now, the people that we need to worry about are the people that's behind the scenes that we don't know who's pulling the strings, you know. But one of them that did kind of come out a little bit in my mind was Michael Bloomberg, and Bloomberg came out and he was talking about maybe running as an independent or maybe coming in as a Democrat because of Hillary Clinton's issues with the server and Benghazi and the scandals and things like that. You know, and I think it was a publicity stunt to let Donald Trump know, like, hey, bro, you're really not in control, because we checked the facts, and Donald Trump is probably worth like 5 4.5 or 5 billion, depending on if you look at Forbes or if you look at Bloomberg or depending on what outlet. So anywhere between 4.5 to 5.5 million. But when you talk about cats like Michael Bloomberg, I mean, he was like 32 billion, and he has friends. So that's the side that's pushing, that's pushing back and and getting Mitt Romney. Like I said, watch last week's show because Mitt Romney came out. He didn't endorse a candidate, but he did talk about Trump and his rhetoric. And he said, like, Trump is real as a degree from Trump University. He's a fraud. And this is a conservative Republican. And if you want to know what a true conservative look at Mitt Romney. And he had to run against, it was just bad timing. So, because I believe if he ran for president right now, he'll be the front runner because he has the tone. He's polished. He's that guy. But we can't have a guy like Donald Trump as president of the United States. Just imagine if he was at the United Nations and he had an issue with the Saudis. I could just see him saying, hey, blank you saying niggers, or saying something stupid, and he's going to be World War III. Somebody going to push the bomb. So we can't let that happen because the powers that be want to destroy this nation, because they want to destroy this nation before the rise of God's people. So they want to tear it down. They want to destroy it. They want to die with the money. If we let the black man get in there, go ahead, Barack. Go ahead, you be president, and then we'll sign Hillary Clinton in there. Then we'll two-term her, and by that time I won't even be here right now because I'm wealthy and I'm 81 right now. So I won't be here. So, but we can't let this. We can't let this go on. Like I said, and I keep saying it. That, and it's biblical that God's people shall not perish for the lack of knowledge. And it also says somewhere that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. So the history of America, they've been protecting their own system. That Constitution is not our Constitution, it's their Constitution. They still look at us as visitors. And in that Constitution, right now, you're looking at 3/4 of a human being. I'm not even a man according to them. But if you really pay attention, to what's going on, they're on the same team. They're on the same team. We don't get to see the conversations that they have behind closed doors, because Bernie Sanders, he'll put it out there and he called them the Washington cartel, and he's on point because he's a career politician, so he's telling us the information. But we need to see what he's talking about, do our own research, and if those facts are true, that we need to start having those conversations and asking and addressing the hard questions. Now, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders had their debate, and they was talking to Don Lemon. And when they asked her the question that all blacks, especially from my generation, want to know about that mass incarceration, and she didn't even answer the question. They asked her the question, but look what this presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton, had to say when asked about the '94 crime bill.
Anderson, as a black man in America, if I were born today, I'd have a 1 in 3 chance of ending up in prison in my life. Secretary Clinton, on the campaign trail, you are calling for an end to the era of mass incarceration. But a lot of folks in the black community blame the 1994 crime bill, a bill you supported, for locking up a generation of black men. Given what's happened since 1994, why should black people trust you to get it right this time?
Well, Don, let me say this. Senator Sanders voted for that bill. We both supported it. And I think it's fair to say we did, because back then there was an outcry over the rising crime rate. And people from all communities were asking that action be taken. Now, my husband said at the NAACP last summer that it solved some problems, but it created other problems, and I agree. And one of those problems was, unfortunately, a move to expand the reasons why people would be incarcerated, not just at the federal level, which was what this bill was about, but in states and localities as well. And that's why the very first speech that I gave in this campaign was about criminal justice reform and ending the era of mass incarceration, because I believe absolutely that too many families were broken up, too many communities were adversely affected. So we've got to do a bunch of things. On the criminal justice side, look, we've got to have better policing. That means body cameras. That means ending profiling. That means doing everything we can to make sure there's respect between the community and the police. And when it comes to incarceration, that means we have to limit mandatory minimums. We have to end disparities in treatment.
The question, though, Secretary Clinton, is why should black people trust you this time to get it right? That's the question.
Well, Senator Sanders voted for it as well. Are you going to ask him the same question?
Probably will. Do you think your husband has said that this bill was a mistake? Do you think it was a mistake?
I just said that. He said at the NAACP that there were some aspects of it that worked well. The violence against women provisions have worked well, for example. But other aspects of it were a mistake, and I agree. That's why I'm focused and have a very comprehensive approach toward fixing the criminal justice system, going after systemic racism that stalks the criminal justice system, ending private prisons, ending the incarceration of low-level offenders, and I am committed to doing that.
And Senator Sanders, before you...
Hey, that's crazy, because it's like this. Sometimes you got to read through the lines. And if you played a part in making it happen, how do you get to play a part in fixing it? So is that the reason blacks should vote for you? Because like I said, we don't even believe you should even be on the stage. And hey, give me a little volume. And it's crazy because it's if you really pay attention to it, in regards to Republicans and Democrats, like I said, at the top, it's the same. Okay. Now, Democratic people, you know, we may have our own issues, you know, but we're working every day. We're taxpayers. But when you look at the top 1%, we're looking at a presidential candidate who played a hand in the mass incarceration. And some people believe that she's a eugenist, meaning she's a part of the genocide movement to take away black people. Now, I did, like I said, go back and watch on demand the one against for genocide, and then it'll make sense, and you'll understand that what her track record is. You have to look at the track record. Now, I do understand, and all due respect, now, people can change. I'm not the same man I was last night. I'm not the same man I was 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I opened up by saying, you know, a lot of people were sitting back scratching their heads like, wait a minute, you know, what Glove doing? Glove, when did this all happen? It all happened because I don't see us really taking this thing serious, and I don't see us really paying attention, because just because we got our own thing together, you know, that's kind of like, it's cool, but if you look at all the other races and cultures, they're working together as a team. You know, and that's where their wealth and that's where their growth is coming from. But our whole system has been dismantled, and you have people just going around working and just being everything inclusive. Because if you look at our black civil rights leaders of today that marched with Martin Luther King, that was back in the day, your Al Sharptons and your Jesse Jacksons, you know, to the black community, both of these guys are clowns. They're jokes. Both of them used to speak out, especially Jesse. You know, he used to speak out, but after, you know, Martin Luther King, and then he wanted to get into politics, they put Jesse in too, just like they trying to do Ben Carson right now, because Jesse Jackson's program is called Rainbow Push Coalition, but it started out, you know, to be support and inclusive for just non-inclusive, but just for blacks. But they told Jesse, if you want the support of America, you're going to have to stop that black empowerment, that black separatist rhetoric, and just be, you know, just help champion your people to become non-factors in this country. Meaning just throw them in the pot and we'll just make it what it is. Because Donald Trump said he want to make America great again. Okay, and when America was great, I was a slave. So it's not going to be great like that again. So what do you mean when you say that? And then Hillary Clinton turns around and says she wants to make it whole. And in that whole, we're non-factors again. So it's kind of I'm telling you, really look at it and really pay attention to where we at right now. They're protecting their United States of America. They're protecting the system that was implemented before it's even started. That's why I classify myself as a nonpartisan, and the only nonpartisan president ever in the history of the United States was George Washington. And yeah, the parties wasn't even there was no parties at the time, so he had to be nonpartisan. But we was here with George Washington, making sure he was okay, cleaning his house, picking his cotton, and doing what we did at that time. Nonpartisan. That's why you have a lot of Washingtons around. I have not met a white person in my life, and I'm sure there are named Washingtons, like all the Jacksons and Washingtons and Smiths, those was prominent white names, but that they had to give it to us. So George, he did a lot, but just really looking at the scope, of where we going and where we headed. Now, if blacks people was a stock, okay, and 50 years ago, and you look at the futures investment from 50 years ago to now, it's clearly we're on a downward slope, okay? And if we don't stand up and start having these conversations and start asking the hard questions, because what's going to happen to our stock? It's going to plummet, okay? So, but what we need to do as blacks is buy all of it, because it's cheap right now. So we need to buy all the black stock, and we need to build it and blow it up. And then we'll be the benefactors 50 years down the road when our children's children are happy that we help create a better Black America for them and theirs. Because 100 years is, in numbers wise, doesn't seem like a long time, but a lot of things happen in 100 years. So if you look at 100 years ago, man, we was riding horses. Wasn't no cars, wasn't no airplanes, none of that. So all of this came to play within 100 years. So what the next 100 years going to look like? We got 50 of a declining stock right now. So what the next 50 going to look like? So we have to come together. We have to have our town hall meetings and our community meetings and things like that to find out what we're going to do to push our agenda, because it's our agenda. Like I said, they want us to just get along. Look at Ben Carson. Like I said, he could probably go to a Klan rally. Nobody will bother him because he's not a threat. But when you look at just blacks as a society and how the media spins things, and we help them because we there's some bad guys out there, and it's messed up because it makes us all look bad. That's why we as a people need to start challenging our issues and start coming up with ways to, in the future, that we can actually get us off of that crime stuff and get off of the dope and get us off of the stupid stuff, but we got to replace it with something. And we have the resources, because if you look at the richest top 10 blacks and put that money together, that's more money than some small nations, but we don't really look at it realistically, because no, we're not picking cotton. But when you turn the TV on and you watch the Super Bowl and you watch a basketball game, we are still creating wealth for our oppressors. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but that's a fact. We're still creating wealth for people other than us. Now, yeah, you get a $50 million contract. Yeah, you go buy that big mansion in Beverly Hills and you got an ocean view. I never knew that was possible till I just happened to work an event, as security for one of those types of events. And I'm like, man, you can see the ocean. the ocean right there. Because when you pass the 405 through Mulholland Drive, you don't realize how, and I'm like, wait a minute. But we have to do our job. And like I said, that's why like I take time out on my Saturday to provide this content, provide this information, because if we don't look at it and be critical and look at it from our point of view and perspective, and not let them kind of guide us to what they want us to believe, then we're part of the problem as well. So we have to look at it from the flip side. And me being a black man for 45 years on this planet, I can only see it from a black man's perspective. But when we talk about the crime bill, that decimated the black communities. That decimated the black communities. But we can come back. But the person who played a part in it is our savior now. No, my savior is Jesus Christ. So I could care less about her and her mission to become president of the United States. But we got to ask the hard questions. And when they talk about that 1%, what about the 99%? They're the minority and we're the majority. So we're going to have to do what we need to do to position ourselves, because when that thing head west, we want to shut down both of them, Hillary Clinton and Trump, because we don't believe neither one of them should be president, no matter what they say. And then we'll just let the chips fall where they lay. And because it doesn't matter who the next president of the United States, especially when it comes to black people. From where we came from and where we've been, I mean, come on. But it's crazy, but we're going to have to do a part 2 of this, because we have to move this and peel the layers back on Hillary Clinton and break it down. But I want to get some professional help, and solicit the Maxine Waters of the world, and, who was here in LA and watch our city just go down, and watch all our brothers, uncles, cousins just, and then here come everybody else, and now we just walking around like, oh, okay. But I'm proud to be who I am. I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be a black man. Hey, and I'm not an enemy of nobody. I love everybody. I agree with Martin Luther King said. It's about the content of your character, because there's some black people that I don't like. Some black people I'm scared of. If I'm walking down the street, I'm 6'3", 230, and I see some people walking on this side of the street with hoodies, I might cross the street and be like, hey, what's up, dog? Y'all good? Yeah. But I understand. But we're going to get it together, and it's time to get out of here. And it's been another show, and it's just going to keep on rolling. It's going to keep on rolling, because this is what we got to do. And I thank you guys for tuning in live. And like I said, you could always catch it on demand. You go to New Day Talk Radio. You can watch the old shows, and it actually makes sense. But we're going to come back next week with part 2. And like I said, until next time, a better Black America. I'm Bushan Glover, and I'm out. Peace.